I like to think of the atonement in different ways and without going into, extreme detail. There's a theory by that Irenaeus first articulated in the 2nd century that's we call recapitulation, which means a redo, a do it over again. And so we see this in Romans chapter 5, where through the first Adam, sin came into the world and violence. We see that in Genesis 6, that God, was appalled and sorry he had made human beings because of their violence. But we see Adam, the first person, acting in ways that are not righteous, in ways that bring sin into the world. So Jesus comes along as fully human, fully God, and lives the life that was intended for us to live, a fully righteous life. And he, as a human being, yet as divine, redoes the entire human condition, so that when we grasp onto Jesus Christ, whether it's now or later, we are made into new creatures. Our very humanity is recapitulated. It's done over again into the righteousness of Christ. So that's one theory of salvation that is a nonviolent theory. The cross itself as nonviolent, the cross was violent. But people like me, or who work in the same area as I do, don't believe that that's violence was what was salvific. What was salvific is the obedience of Jesus to live through the mission that he sent out to live through, and that was to reveal God to a lost and dying world, and to totally live out the human life from conception through death, which he did. In the process, human beings put him to death in the way that thousands and thousands of people who disturbed the peace of Rome or threatened Rome in any way were put to death, and that was by crucifixion. Thousands of people, men, women, and children, were crucified in the day of Christ and before and after. And he, in solidarity with those who were so oppressed, hung on the cross, allowed that to be the case. But from the cross, he prayed a prayer. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And so when I think about that prayer, I also read in the book of James that anybody who prays a righteous person's prayers will be answered by God. And Jesus is the representative of all humanity, of the entire human race. And as God prays that God will forgive them, they don't know what they're doing, that prayer reveals the forgiveness of God for all human beings, and the redemption eventually of all creation. And so I think that those two things are for the most part what's going on. There's other things, but going on in the cross, the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus.